Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all an update to my Cardfight Vanguard Overdress Zorga deck profile for Post-Festival Collection 2022. With the latest Festival Collection, we were given a new Grade 3 Zorga for a different playstyle of the Alchemagic deck. This deck focuses more on the Soul Blast option of being able to call a normal unit onto the field with the additional power of the new order we got, along with the Zorga being able to perform Alchemagic with its new Soul Blast and discard power to set up the drop zone as well, and giving more of your units in the front row a plus 5,000 power additionally, along with the Persona Ride for some bigger pressure front row units. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the Ride deck, with our starter being Dream Nibbling. When you rode upon this unit, if you went second, you draw a card, pretty standard. As always, the grade 1 is still Rancor Chain. Once per turn in the Vanguard Circle, you can Soul Blast 1 to draw 2 cards and choose up to 1 order from your hand and discard it. If you did not discard, choose 2 cards from your hand and discard them. So it makes up for some draw power, but you do have to set up an order in your drop zone, which you can easily add back with your Black Tears Husk Dragon. When this unit is placed on Vanguard, just choose a normal order from your drop zone, put it into your hand, and both Rancor Chain and also your Black Tears Husk Dragon have a power-up option if you play an order this turn for 2,000 for Rancor Chain and 5,000 for Black Tears Husk Dragon. These are the only 2 numbers for these cards I run in the deck, but I do bring up the option because you can call them from the drop zone to rear if you use some of your different orders for Alchemagic. And our grade 3 is the Deep Sea Spiritualist Grave Zorga, which, along with the additional copy that was in the Ride deck, I also run 3 additional copies of this card for the Persona Ride and Soul build-up power. For Dead Sea Spiritualist Grave equals Zorga on Vanguard Circle once per turn. Soul Blast 1, discard a card from your hand. Choose a normal order from your drop zone, put it into your hand, and to the end of this turn, when you would play a normal order, you can bind a normal order with a different name from your drop zone and Alchemagic. It contains the costs and the added effects to both for this Alchemagic, letting you use 2 different orders at the same time with this card. With the new Zorga requiring a Soul Blast as well, I did mix around some of the new and old orders together to better use for the playstyle for this deck. So along with the 3 copies of the Zorga equals Grave, or Grave equals Zorga, for the other grade 3 in the deck, I'm running 4 copies of Roaming Prison Dragon. Your backup grade 3, just one of the best ones to call out with your Alchemagic, which your Clouded Miasma would be the main way you call this card out to your rearguard circle. And from your drop zone, when you play a normal order, you may call this card to your rear. If you called this card, perform one of the following. If it was an Alchemagic, perform all of the following instead. This unit gets plus 10,000 until end of turn. And also, with this card, it gets an additional critical. Having a 5,000 power rearguard can still hit some pretty big numbers, along with Grave equals Zorga own plus 5,000 and the Persona Ride's own plus 10,000 as well. For the grade 2s, the only grade 2 that I run in the deck is 4 copies of Shadow Cloak. When this unit is placed on rear from hand, search your deck for up to 1 order card, reveal it, and if your drop zone does not have a card with the same card name as that card, discard the revealed card and shuffle your deck. And on rear, when you play an order, you can Soul Blast 1. This unit gets plus 5,000 to end of turn. If it was Alchemagic, choose one of your other rear guards, and you may return it to your hand, letting you recycle some of your other rear guards, thanks to this Grave 2, and also just for more of the search and setup for your different orders as well. And I also run for the grade 1s. Like I said, with the orders taking up a big amount of the deck, you are running a lower number for some of your other units. But for the grade 1s, I run 4 Rogue Headhunter. If you played an order this turn, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. And when this unit is placed on rearguard, the next time you would Alchemagic an order and play it this turn, you can return that cost by 1 counterblast. The Clouded Miasma does require a counterblast, so being able to reduce that cost for the counterblast is another reason why I really do like running Rogue Headhunter. Another target for the Zorga Grave option to call this card out, and then just call out the grade 3 for your additional call onto the field for that setup. And for the last of the grade 1s, I run 4 copies of Plan or Prevent Dragon. You just definitely do need Sentinels for extra protection in this deck. There's a chance you will have it set up in your drop zone for another unit to call out onto the field, but most of the time you can easily have it in your hand, ready to use for the additional guard against one of your opponent's units. And if you have 1 or less cards in hand, having the additional 1 to block another attack. And then now moving on to the normal orders that we run in the deck to also perform Alchemagic with. From the Festival Collection, I am running 4 of the Clouded Miasma. You play this card with a counterblast of 1, choose a grade 3 or less card from your drop zone, call it to rear. If this card is part of Alchemagic, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets Vanguard. All of your front row units get plus 5,000 till end of turn. So along with Grave equals Zorga and the additional plus 5 that this card provides, if you Persona Road, your entire front row is getting plus 20,000 power with your own grade 3 being able to reach plus 10 on its own and an additional critical. That is some immense pressure against your opponent while not even getting any trigger units yet. So you definitely want to run 4 Clouded Miasma so you can be part of a good majority of your Alchemagics during the turn. For the added pressure for your Zorga, we are also running 3 Gather Upon Ye Wandering Souls. When this card is played, you play it with the discard of an order from a card from your hand. Choose one of your Vanguards and it gets drive plus 1 until end of turn. So being able to have your Grave equals Zorga equal out to 3 drive checks is that much more scary as well to get the additional triggers. And for that option, you can have some pretty big pressure numbers using this card along with more of the setup in the deck as well, depending on what you Alchemagic with. Now, using Soul Blast for Grave equals Zorga can definitely wither down the soul. So for the additional normal order, I'm running 3 Tearful Malice. You play this card by retiring 2 rear guards, draw a card, put this unit into your soul, and countercharge 1. So you can make up for some of the rear guards that may have lost their power on the field as well, with your roaming Prison Dragon being for the skill until the end of turn. So if it still remains on the field because your opponent either didn't attack into it or get rid of it, you really need some ways to at least retire them from the field, and this card can help with that, giving you the option for then placing your Tearful Malice into the soul to give you the Soul Blast needed for Grave equals Zorga. And then lastly, for the orders, just 1 Nectar of Sensationalism. Choose one of your rear guards till the end of the turn. It gets power plus 5,000 for every 5 cards in your drop zone. If your drop zone is 15 or more cards, it gets critical plus 1. Now you run cards like Hendrina because a lot of the orders, or all of them, don't use Soul Blast for any of their skills. You really don't need any less Soul Blast costs or any other soul options for your Alchemagic or the counter charging, because you really only counter blast with your Clouded Miasma in the deck, and that can easily be covered with your Rogue Headhunter as well. So the late game pressure with your Nectar of Sensationalism for additional power and critical to one of your rear guards is always a nice touch for just 1 additional order to have 10 for the count. And moving on now to the triggers, I run 7 criticals, so 4 of the Aspiring Maiden Alana and 3 of the Abyss Temptation. These triggers are probably some of your best ones to use along with the fronts in the deck, since draws can easily be just missed by setting them up in the drop zone and missing other trigger unit options. So 7 critical. And for front trigger, once again, with this pressure, having an additional plus 10 to your front row with the additional plus 20 from a Persona ride and the Clouded Miasma and Grave equals Zorga just adds more and more to the attacks you can hit against your opponent. And for the heal triggers, I run 2 of the Soul Repose Pixie, just having the additional shield from these cards, then the additional option for the plus 15 shield when going up against decks like Bastion that can restand quite easily, or Bruce with your Fairy Asher, and the Alchemic Hedgehog to block against the additional critical that some of your units that your opponent attack with against your own. And the overtrigger being the Bless Favor. Doesn't happen as often because this card can be set up in the drop zone as well, but when it does resolve, it gives me, once again, a nice little pressure plus against my opponent with all the power my front row can get, and the additional heal is just a bonus. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy the video. Like I said, I've updated the Orphis deck and the Zorga deck. These were the main 2 focus from the Festival Collection, but I'll still be updating a good number of other decks from the set as well. So look forward to it. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Qualia out.